Ladies and gentlemen, boys and ghouls, it's time for Below Grade Level. Listener beware, you're in for a scare.
Welcome back to Below Grade Level, the show where we take the books that we loved as children and read them as adults and ruin them. I almost forgot the tagline for my own show. But anyway, that's what we do. We read these books and we read them. Anyway, we're reading party games. You know what we're doing? We're finishing party games. I don't know about you guys, but we got pretty tired of reading this book. You guys are probably pretty tired of listening to it, but hey, you know what? It's been a fun 6 episodes. It's been quite a wild ride. Rachel's been put through the ringer, that poor girl. Last time, we found out that everything had just been a big goddamn joke that Brendan Fear set up. Nobody's actually dead. Patty and Carrie, their friends, it was all a big joke. Everything was a joke. Everything was faked. A big fake out. But then, those masked men, remember, who were in the house, who were armed, they weren't part of the joke. That was real. So the masked men took everybody hostage, put all the kids in the basement. They took, what's her name? Rachel. They took Rachel and Brendan, and they took them out, separately from everybody else. Mac runs in. Mac got shot. Rachel runs off into the woods by herself, hears a gunshot, and thinks that the masked men have killed Brendan. That's a lot of stuff to suddenly happen. But you know what? That's also kind of like R.L. Stine's MO at this point. It's like, let's just slow build up. It's like a Pixie song. Slow build up for a couple hundred pages, and then all of a sudden everything happens all at the last minute. So on this episode, we're going to start with chapter 35 and just go all the way through to the end. And my guests are good old Bekah, Eaton, and Chris Zaleski. It's just the 3 of us. So strap in and let's find out what happens with Rachel, Brendan Fear, Mac the Psycho, those masked men, everybody else that's in the basement being held hostage. I don't know. Okay, here's a sneak peek. I do think that this episode, I can't remember if it was the last one or this one, one of the episodes has the bone ladder in it, and that's my favorite part of this entire book. That's the one thing that I actually do solidly remember is the bone ladder. So let's hear about that bone ladder. And exciting news. So the next episode of Below Grade Level, these last 12 episodes have been sort of a primer for you new listeners and a fun reminiscence, is that a word, for old listeners. It's stuff that we read a long time ago, basically, and I repackaged as new episodes where you can listen to the entire story as we read through it. But the next episode, episode 13, we are going to actually start a brand new book for real. And then after that, we're going to kind of flip-flop back and forth between some legacy episodes and some new stuff. So if you're a little tired of the spooky stuff, we're probably going to get into something different next time. Maybe something that's action heavy, maybe something that's romantic. I'm not sure. It's not going to be spooky, though. It's going to be a different kind of teen or kids, adventure book. So be sure to come back for episode 13, where we'll reveal whatever the hell we end up reading. We haven't figured it out yet, but it's going to be good. Let us know if you like it somehow. I don't know. Follow us on Facebook and stuff. I'm pretty bad at plugging ourselves. We're figuring this out. So anyway, let's get into it. Let's finish party games, and I'll see you next time.
Chapter 35, The Death Pit.
What?
Whoa.
It's a great chapter.
The Death
Oh,
Pit?
I'm so excited.
All right, I'm hooked.
The black trees appeared to spin around me. Why do they gotta be black?
Fat? Are they fat too? Are they fat black trees?
Fat black trees.
Fat black trees.
Like a fast merry-go-round. The ground tilted up, then down.
What?
Suddenly dizzy, I shut my eyes
That's
and
not how
tried to think.
merry-go-rounds go.
Why-
They go in a circle, not up and down.
Why is she spinning?
And now she's just repeating what she said in the last chapter. They shot Brendan. They're forgetting their kidnapping plans. They killed Mac. Now they just want to
They
kill us.
forgot about all the money.
The
they
only
just want to
witnesses.
murder children.
They changed their plan in 5 minutes.
Oh, no, this is good.
Yeah.
A picture of my dad and my uncle in their hunting outfits tore into my mind.
What?
I saw them cleaning their rifles, preparing to go out on the hunting day they had joined together once a year, hunting for deer.
Once a year.
the
They're
fuck?
horrible brothers.
Tracking down prey. Now I was the prey.
Oh.
These two masked men with the... I'm just going to read it like Adam West. These two masked men with their hunting rifles tensed, their shoes crackling over the leaves. So
Crackle.
near I could hear every leaf crack.
Crack.
At
Crack.
least
Crackle.
in my terrified condition, so tense and alert, I thought I could hear every leaf crack.
Oh my god.
So close. Close enough to reach out and touch.
For some reason, my friend Irish Amy broke into my panicked thoughts. Irish Amy, why didn't I listen to you? You begged me not to go to this party in your stupid Irish voice. You warned me not to get mixed up with Brendan and the Fear family, just like an Irishman. Why didn't I listen to her? Because of my crush on Brendan?
Yes.
Yes, is the answer. I didn't listen to Irish Amy, and I didn't listen to Batman Mac. And now,
Rachel!
here I was, more frightened than I'd ever been. Frightened for my life. I opened my eyes. The fat trees had stopped whirling around me, and the ground had settled beneath my knees. Slowly and silently, I stood up. I heard the men cursing in low voices.
Shit.
Fuck.
Fuck.
I didn't hear
damn
Brendan.
it.
Their footsteps were rapid and loud. They were heading in the opposite direction, away from me. Yes! I waited. Staring in their direction, I stood shivering and I waited. I waited till I could no longer hear them or wait anymore. Then stood still a few minutes more to make sure.
Oh my god.
Just kept fucking waiting. And then, when I was certain that they were not playing a trick because this whole
Hours later.
day had been one big mind fuck after another, when I knew they weren't lying in wait, setting a trap, I took off in the other direction. I forced my legs to move, kicking leaves and twigs and small branches out of my way.
Yes, be as loud as you possibly can.
Using my arms to brush open a path between shrubs and clumps of tall weeds. So essentially, I just ran full tilt like
Just
a windmill.
swinging your arms.
I didn't know where I'd come out. I just wanted to run as far as I could from the two gunmen. I didn't have a plan.
No
I didn't
shit.
have a plan.
I couldn't think straight at all. I was running through a nightmare of black shadows.
Why
She's a lesbian?
And all I could see in my mind was Matt crumpled on the floor in that room. Brendan's body sprawled stiff and still on the ground, even though you haven't seen that.
Yeah, I'm just
All she's
imagining
worried about is whether or not he's stiff.
Brendan's body and my dad and uncle in their LL Bean hunting jackets and tall
Did he
boots.
specifically say
Yes,
LL?
he
It
did.
Oh my
says
God.
LL Bean.
I thought your dad was unemployed.
And after this, remind me to show you a Tumblr that's called my LL Bean boyfriend.
Okay. Is it like the drunk J. Crew Tumblr?
I don't know what their Tumblr is.
Oh. It's a Tumblr where they just take J. Crew ads, but the girls all look drunk, and so they just put drunk text over them.
It's like that, but it's like the Ryan Gosling thing,
Oh,
where
the
it's
Hey
like
Girl.
feminist Ryan Gosling. It's like that, but LL Bean pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that. And whatever. It's dumb. Okay. Waving their rifles and the deer running, trotting full speed through the trees. The deer running so frightened like me.
You're like a frightened deer.
I feel like she's practicing
It's like
her
she's being
poetry or
hunted.
something out
Yeah.
here. Like,
I
Like
can't
she's
wait
being
to
hunted by hunters
then,
Who are
almost
hunting.
like that.
then,
Mm-hmm.
more terror.
More.
in the
More!
chubby woods.
The ground gave way. It just vanished.
What?
And I fell into a hole. My hands flying above my head, my feet kicking wildly.
All right, this is where I gotta draw the line at the believability of this story. I mean, vanishing ground, that's just fucking stupid.
She just fell right into a hole, man. I don't know what to tell you. Black walls rose up on all sides.
Black.
Black
Why they gotta be black?
walls. And I dropped hard and fast.
Yeah, you did.
I landed on my feet, but my legs collapsed. And
I landed on my feet,
broke
but they
both my legs.
broke. Crack.
And I crumpled to the bottom.
Good.
I expected dirt or mud, but something hard cracked and slid beneath me. What's sliding
Oh my god.
under you?
Bones?
I struggled to catch my breath. Sorry. I'm salivating a lot right now.
No, you were
Yes, I'm
struggling to catch your breath.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm catching my breath. I'm not gross. I gazed up at the sky and saw a rectangle of gray light high above me. Why? You said it was nighttime. There shouldn't be any light. A pit. I had fallen into a deep pit, the dirt walls rising high above my head. My knees throbbed with pain from the fall. A wave of panic shot down my body. Did I break my legs? Could I stand? Only I could answer these questions.
There is no way to know.
Slowly, I pulled myself up. No. No. My knees pulsed with pain. I can't walk. I'll never get out of here.
Awesome
God.
alliteration.
I took a deep breath and forced myself upright. Bent my knees until the pain started to
It's
fade.
alleviating and it aids my ailments. I love alliteration.
There's a lot of alliteration in these last few
The
chapters.
pit's full of bones, I'm calling it.
This page?
Yeah.
Yes. First full sentence.
Stood hard on one leg,
Yeah, you
then the
did.
other. That's a sentence.
Yeah, that's a sentence.
Nothing else, just stood hard on one leg, then the other. Everything hurt and I had a few scratches, but I seemed to be okay. Well, whoopity-doo! My shoe kicked something hard on the pit floor.
Skull.
Had I landed on rocks? No, if you landed on rocks, you wouldn't fucking be okay.
Yeah.
I bent to see more clearly. I picked up the strangely shaped rock I had just kicked. I'm not going to read further. It's going to be like a skull or something.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's bones.
Ahem. I raised it close to my face to see it in the darkness. No. Oh, no. I wasn't holding a rock. I held a skull, ...
Oh, no!
A human skull. I tossed it to the pit floor. I'm glad, like, she knows, like, her pit terminology.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it just really helps with the narration. It rattled against something hard and rolled to the wall.
Probably
I bent
Another
down.
skull.
Pale moonlight suddenly cast a sick green light over the... Since when's the moon green?
On
Over
Fear
the pit.
Island it is.
And the bones came into focus.
Uh,
Long bones.
Oh.
Short
Ugh.
ones. A rib
bones that
cage.
climb on rocks.
Hold on. I'm going to give this a good read. Long bones. Short ones. A rib cage. No. 2 rib cages.
What?
Another skull grinning up at me with its deep black eye holes and
Oh,
all its teeth. Bones!
I'm so
A
jealous.
thick jumble of skulls and bones! I was
jealous of
standing
this
in
page.
some kind of human burial pit! I tried to hold it in, but how could I? I opened my mouth in a long, hoarse shriek of horror!
Ah!
Damn.
That was a good page.
Chapter, yeah.
Great
That was like
page.
half a page, and it was better
R.L.
than
Stine, thank you.
Chapter 36. No escape. The scream ended in a shuddering moan. Ah! The pale shaft of moonlight made the bones glow a dull yellow-green. I'm colorblind. I tried to look away from the tilted skulls grinning up at me, as if welcoming me, grinning to see a new victim of the pit, a new resident. Join us. Join us forever.
Oh my god.
Oh! I moaned again as the putrid odor of death floated over me. I started to gag. The smell was thick and sour, and I held my breath and waited for my stomach to stop heaving. Who were these poor people who ended up together at the bottom of this deep hole in the stinking jumble of bones?
Maybe they like it there. Stop judging.
Were these the Fear family servants who were killed in the bizarre hunting party? Could that story possibly be true? Could anyone be so cruel to shoot their servants for a sport, and dump their bodies in a pit in the woods?
Well, clearly she doesn't know much about monarchies.
I trembled in horror and tried not to think of the people whose remains I was standing on.
Well, stop crunching their bones. They're
Crunchity
gonna haunt
crunch.
you. Tried to keep my eyes on the small rectangle of moonlight above me.
Eye noise.
Brendan. Where are you, Brendan? Are you okay? Brendan was a fear. Did he know about this burial pit? Did he know that the horrifying stories about his ancestors were true? I didn't want to think about that. I just wanted to know that Brendan was safe and alive. I didn't care if he was a murderous monster.
Here's the thing, real quick. If this pit is full of bones, that means that the people that are in the pit that have been dead for so long
Yeah.
that everything on them has given way to
Just-
bones. So it just pretty much means that
Like a
there's
century?
just been a pit of bones there the whole time, and Brendan, like when he was a kid, was just like, "That's just a pit of bones.
Oh, yeah, no.
Just run past it.
Nah, it's the bone pit.
Just
Fine.
ignore the bone pit.
We played it as kids.
It's fine.
The bone pit.
It's fine. Go on.
You ever played Skull Ball? Like,
Go on.
I heard the rifle shots and the words of the gunman. We got the boy. Now let's get the girl. It was identical to the thing he said a few minutes ago. Seemed redundant, but whatever. I leaned my back against the pit wall and listened. Had the two gunmen heard my scream when I discovered the bones? Probably. I could hear only the rush of the wind above me. So far, they hadn't found me, but they had to be nearby. I took a few steps. The bones crunched under my shoes.
Crunch.
A skull rolled toward the dirt wall.
skull noise.
The moonlight
As it rolls.
The moonlight dimmed for a few seconds, then returned.
Damn.
I knew I had to find a way out of the pit. The walls rose up at least...
I was
Okay,
in the
Hold
pit.
on. This is when you lost me.
Uh-huh. I noticed the stairs.
There's stairs?
No,
The walls rose up at least 3 or 4 feet above my head.
Well, how tall is she?
She's gotta be at least 5 feet. She's in fucking high school.
Yeah.
So then 3 or 4.
It's 3 feet? Fucking jump! Oh my god, jump!
Can you make that?
3 feet?
Yeah, you can probably make
I don't know.
that.
You could kick into the wall and make little steps
Yeah,
with your toes. Oh
3
my
feet's
god.
like-
Well, then
It's
why
like as
didn't the
tall as the
bones
table.
do that? Why didn't
Three-
the bones do that?
I was picturing
Because
like
they were bones.
I was picturing okay, and
Like
she,
a Silence of the
and
Lambs
hold
type
on.
pit.
Shows
She
what you know
keeps
about
saying the small rectangle of light, which makes me think she's fucking at least 6 feet deep or something.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like Silence of the Lambs. If
Yeah.
it's a small rectangle,
Yeah.
either it's the world's like
No, she's
smallest
just a
circumference of a pit,
overly
Also-
dramatic
yeah.
teenager.
or she's a moron. Okay.
We should,
Well, like
Oh
I
my
said,
God.
overly dramatic
whole
teenager.
time-
Pile up the skulls and make yourself a set
the
of
whole time
stairs.
she's been sitting down, then she
Make
stands
weapons
up.
out
She's
of
like,
the
"Oh, the
feet.
ledge is right here."
Oh wait, I can see over the top with my
Use
eyes.
the bones as clubs.
Is anyone else singing the pit song from Parks and Recreation in their head also?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I fell in the pit. Fell in
Okay,
the
so
pit.
easy problem to solve. Let's see how she does it. I dug my hands into the soft dirt wall. Could I climb up the side?
Dead Jim.
I suddenly pictured the rock climbing wall at the Shady Side Mall. Beth was the timid one in the family, except when it came to that climbing wall. She loved it. She was so sure-footed and confident and strong.
That sister that I keep forgetting to mention that I have.
Yeah, I never could keep up with her. I'm pretty sure if I was in a pit and only 4 feet above me was the top,
You can make
I
it.
could get out.
You can make
I
it.
could get
I
out.
would
If it's
dig
dirt.
myself out.
Dig up.
Yeah.
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 Kick your feet in. Kick your feet into the dirt. Oh my
Page 230.
Well, when you say that, I'm depressed.
But could I do it now? Could I pretend I was on the rock climbing wall and pull myself up? Did she just reminisce about rock climbing?
God. Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
this
she
is
did.
this is
God,
completely
I hope-
unnecessary.
I hope you die, Rachel.
I had to try. I gazed up at the smooth dirt. No way. No way. No way the soft mud would hold my weight. The mud would crumble off and I'd slide back down onto the floor of bones. Bones.
If it was that,
Yes.
If it's mud,
if the
Bones.
mud was that wet, that pit would be full of fucking water.
yeah.
I'm gonna reread that last bit because you'll eat this up. Down onto the floor of bones. Enter. Bones. Period. Enter. Yes. Bones.
Oh my God!
That's real?
There's
Look
still
at it
bones.
right there.
There's-
Bones. Yes, bones.
Oh my God.
Still bones
Yes,
there.
bones.
I
Yes, bones.
suddenly knew I had no choice because bones are just terrible.
I can't live with bones for the rest of my life.
There was only one way out of this disgusting putrid hole.
Away from the bones.
I bent over and grabbed a leg bone,
Yeah,
like
you-
she would know.
The leg bone.
A leg bone.
The leg bone.
That's a medical term.
I
leg
heard she
bone.
mumbled earlier that she's
Connected to the
pre-med.
hip bone.
And shoved it against the dirt wall.
She's gonna use the bones to climb out.
I swept 3 or 4 more bones into my arms and piled them on top of the first one.
She's making a ladder
my
of
God.
bones.
The bones were cracked and caked with mud.
If
Many
the
of the
walls-
skulls were crawling with insects. Tiny white worms climbed in and out of the nostril holes. There are no nostril holes. It's just a nasal cavity.
If the walls were that muddy, the bones would just slide out, and you would
Yeah.
be able to.
Why don't you look up what
Bones
a skull
would-
looks
oh
like,
my
Stine?
God. That would be way harder than just kicking your foot in.
Yeah.
The bone
Yeah.
would just slide straight down.
Sloop.
My stomach started to lurch again.
Do you know
Lurch
how much
noise.
it would have to rain for it to be, assuming she's 5 foot flat, if she's short as shit?
Well,
Yeah.
it was
If
just
it's-
hurricane
if it's,
season.
okay, 5'4",
Uh-huh.
and it rained so much that directly where her arms can reach is soaking wet with water, where
She's
she
waist
can't
deep
put
in
her
water.
foot
I don't know. Have
Yeah.
you ever seen
She's
Poltergeist?
waist deep in water.
When he's like in the
Yeah.
pool?
And
Like,
it's
"I didn't
full
know
of
the
water.
bodies."
It's full of water, not crunchy, crackly, dry bones.
I
Gone.
tried to hold my breath to keep the smell from making me sick, but I had to breathe. I knew the smell would linger with me, stay on my clothes and my skin.
Why do the bones smell?
I tried not to think about that. I had a mission now. A plan. A plan to pile the bones up
Her
against the
thought
side
is for
of the
later
pit
she's gonna stink for a while.
to use them to climb. Oh no, her plan right now is to pile all the bones on
You
one
know what
side.
I think your plan, Rachel?
I lifted 2 rib cages from the floor and pushed them on top of the pile. I tossed a skull to the side and grabbed a few more leg bones.
Oh my
I
God.
needed to pile them 3 or 4
Fuck
feet
those.
high.
Oh
Bones.
my god. That would be enough for me to climb up and grab the ground at the top of the pit. Once up there, I was sure I could pull myself out. But was I? I decided my... Oh my god, guys. Guys.
What?
So
I
fucking bad.
decided my bone pile was high enough. Bone Pile is the name of my new band.
Yeah,
I stepped onto the
my
bone.
Misfits cover band.
I stepped onto the bones at the bottom of the pile, reached up, grabbed the bones above my shoulders with both hands, and leaned forward and tugged myself up. Whoa! No! The bones made a heavy clattering sound as they slid out from under me.
I'm super shocked.
I
It's like
toppled.
one whole chapter of her just in this fucking pit.
I toppled back to the pit floor, landing face down between 2 skulls. I lay there sprawled on my stomach, breathing hard for a few seconds. Sharp bones dug into my stomach.
Drink every time you hear the word bones.
I know.
We need to make a disclaimer before this episode.
Yeah.
Drink every time you hear the word
Lots
bones.
of mention of bones.
I'll make Sketchy say it. You can do this, Rachel. If those men find you down here, they'll kill you and leave you in this pit.
It sounded like you improv
And if they
that.
don't find you, you'll still die in this pit because you're a moron.
Wait, guys. My skeleton will join the others. The thought made my breath catch in my throat.
Catch
I
noise.
forced myself to breathe.
Force noise.
In my throat.
Then I began shoving bones back against the wall.
Shove.
I tossed them.
Toss.
I tossed them, and I rolled them, and I piled them up again, working feverishly with the bones.
So she's literally making a pile of bones to stand on and not using them as pegs like a peg wall.
I jammed rib bones on top of leg bones, tucking them in, trying to make my bone ladder more sturdy. I'm not
Oh my God.
making any of this up. My bone ladder.
This is highly
My
legitimate.
bone ladder is the name of my second band.
Let's
This
face
is a
it.
great payoff.
Kids are dumb and
Yeah.
they'll believe anything.
I'm happy now. After I'd piled the bones 3 or 4 feet high, there were 2 skeletons worth of bones. I'm sorry. I began scooping up mud in both hands, spreading mud over the bones like cement. I patted the
Except
mud
it was
tight
mud.
in the bones, smoothed the bones with it, scooped more
Bones.
mud, hoping it might hold the bones together beneath
I hope
me.
she says bones again.
Oh my god, this chapter should just be
Oh.
called Bones
I'm
with
so
an exclamation
excited.
point.
I'm so excited. to
Hold
read
on.
this.
At least 3 exclamation points, okay? He's not an amateur.
Bones.
Bones, come down to Rachel's Bone
I
Emporium.
mean, he's not going to use one
I've
exclamation
got
point.
bones.
It's getting
He's not going to
so
use one exclamation
No, he's
point
not.
like a bad writer.
good. He just will forget the punctuation completely, like the writer he is. Then I took a deep, shuddering breath and again began the sickening climb.
Up
You
the
can
climb.
do this,
Up
Rachel.
the bone ladder.
fat black bugs scuttled over my hands.
There's always got to be a black thing.
I brushed them away as I grabbed and climbed, digging my shoes into the bones beneath me.
Bone ladder.
The bones trembled beneath me. I heard a clattering sound. The bone ladder began to slide apart, almost as if it was held together with nothing but mud.
I imagine him sitting there going like, bones are spooky.
Here's what I'm picturing. R.L. Stine woke up one morning and just went, bone ladder! And then started writing a book. Knowing that he would get to this part.
Sheila, I've got it!
My head pressed against the dirt wall. I made a wild grab for the ground at the top. My hand slid back. I started to fall. I dug my fingers into the dirt. Yes! This went well for you? All right. I hoisted myself up, my legs frantically bicycling against the pit wall. Hoisted myself, ... pulled ... and hurtled like a raging animal out of the disgusting pit and onto the solid ground above it.
What was in the pit?
Bones!
So many bones. All the bones.
I'm getting boned up with all this bone talk.
Bones
So
upon
many
bones.
Bones and mud and bones. I hugged the ground, breathing so hard I thought my chest would explode. I knew I couldn't stay there. I knew I didn't have much time. The kidnappers had to be nearby. I forced myself to my knees, brushing fat black bugs off my arms, off my clothes. I stood up, my legs shaky, my shoes bringing up clumps of mud. Silence all around. Even the wind had stopped. Where was Brendan? Where were the two gunmen who were hunting me? I lost all sense of direction. The moon had disappeared.
What a woman.
It's true. I got lost trying to go to dinner last night with Christina.
Oh no.
The moon had disappeared behind the clouds again. I couldn't tell which
Why didn't
way
you tell that story on the last episode?
led to the house.
You would stop talking about
and
Magfest.
Oh, you shut up.
It wasn't that I got lost going to Columbia and then I got there. The end.
What?
Hold on, this sentence confused my brain. I couldn't tell which way led to the house and which to the water.
Bones!
Bones!
This book is rated
Fat black
PG-13
bones.
due to gratuitous mention of bones. Which way led to the house, which way to the water.
Yes.
But my head spinning, my throat aching, I started to move anyway. I walked away from the pit of bones, eager to leave it far behind. I'll always remember that pit of bones, and when I fell into that pit of bones, and all the bones that I had to deal with, brushing them together to make a bone ladder. Into the trees, brushing away tall weeds and saplings as I moved, my legs felt too shaky to run, but I kept up a steady pace, despite all the stacking of bones that I just did. Walked until I found a dirt path that wound through the tall trees, black against an even blacker sky, blacker than the bones in that dark pit. I walked with all my senses alert, listening for sounds of my pursuers, my eyes scanning the darkness for any movement. The dirt crunched under my shoes. Despite the cold air, I kept mopping sweat off my forehead with the back of one hand. It's almost like I'm reading it, but I'm not even paying attention.
Yeah. I forgot everything you just said.
Like, is this almost every page that you
Bones?
read?
Bones!
Bones.
My
Circle of
heart
bones.
started
Nothing.
to pound with the broad stretch of gray open before me. I realized I had come to the end of the trees.
Ronald Reagan?
Squinting hard, it's my Vincent Price.
Mammy?
Mammy. Well, squinting hard, I could see a wide patch of tall grass.
With raptors in it.
Waving first one direction. Girl, you know you're beautiful.
Why
Then
do
the
you know
other,
what
Why
the
do you
swirling
know
one. That's
that?
the only part I know.
I don't
And
know
mostly
any of
because
it.
Mark wouldn't stop singing it. Because Mark used to text Brandon whenever that song came on. And Brandon used to text Mark whenever that song came on. Because they both love sucking each other's dicks.
Every time I see something that's One Direction, I think it's ID, like the ID network. And then I realize it's 1D.
Then the other in the swirling wind.
Brandon and Mark used to suck each other's dicks?
Yeah, all the time. The wind
That's
gusts grew
adorable,
stronger.
gay.
Yeah.
That's
The
adorable,
air-
gay.
Adora gay.
The air suddenly felt heavy and wet.
And fat.
This is gratuitous.
That wet air.
Fat wet air.
The night was sultry.
Ooh.
I stepped away from the forest of trees.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Well, what other
my
kind
God.
of forest would it be? You know, I love forests, but not the kind with trees in them.
I was
fucking
used to a
Christ.
forest of bones.
Okay.
No one.
I can't wait to get back to.
Goosebumps.
Okay, I stepped away from the forest of trees
Jesus Christ.
onto the sweeping grassland. How big is this island? And almost cried out for joy when I saw the water. Yes, the lake. Low, purple waves lapping at the grassy... Oh, it's because it's sunset. Okay. Grassy shore with such a soft and soothing sound. The lake. I'd reached the lake. Max canoe.
That
The
sounds
boat
like
the gunman
Max-
came over on.
Max Canoe. I'm
sounds
just
like a
picturing
person's
like
name.
yeah,
Yeah.
Max Canoe.
yeah,
They
Max
had
Canoe.
to be at
Like
the
a
dick.
superhero that was a canoe.
My name is Max Canoe.
They had to be at the dick.
Mm-hmm.
I can escape. I can get back to town and get help for Brendan and for the other kids. Like they're an afterthought.
Oh my
Everyone
God.
else can just go die.
Shielding my eyes with one hand, I gazed down the shore and I saw the dick jutting out into the lake. Yes, I'd reached the dick, stretching over the water like a huge dark insect. What? Squinting hard, the cold wind blowing against my burning face, I stared at it. And then I let out a low moan. The dock stood empty. No canoe, no boat, no escape!
The whoopee cushion's been on the floor for
Oh,
all
so it's
of
really
like,
cold?
Yeah, it's immediately really cold.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Chapter 30... Guys, chapter 37.
Welcome to chapter 37.
Wet.
Wet. That's just the title.
The title of the chapter is Wet. I stared at the dock as if willing the boat to appear, but it didn't work because I'm not an X-Man. The tall grass tilted around me in the steady rush of swirling wind.
Man.
The only other sound was the gentle splash of the dark waves against the dick pilings.
Splash,
I
splash,
thought I heard
splash.
something. I
Heard.
sucked in a mouthful of air. Oh, yeah, I spun around, away from the water, squinted into the forest of trees. No one there. You're alone here, Rachel. What are you going to do next?
Well, alone, and there's the gunman and all the other kids and
A
Brendan.
strange feeling of calmness had fallen over me. I realized that I could take only so much fear, feel only so much panic, and then with a weird feeling of numbness made me let out a long, weary sigh, and I realized I'm a really boring protagonist. I started to...
I stopped listening a while ago. What's happening?
I started to breathe normally.
Nothing.
Nothing.
She got out of the
Nothing.
pit. She ran to the dock.
She's finally at the dick. And,
Yeah.
And that's the end. Okay.
Now she's starting to breathe normally.
Oh,
I
thank
started to
God.
breathe normally. I tucked my hands into my pockets. I stopped trembling. Then I turned back to the dick. So, okay. I couldn't... Okay. So,
It says so okay.
this is how it's written. So, okay. I couldn't escape the island by boat. A new plan was definitely needed. No fucking shit. Oh my God. Oh my God. I hope she dies. Let's just read it. Read it as fast as you can.
Hold on. I really want to take a picture of the bones.
Hey, you
Yes,
took
bones.
video of it?
Yes, I did.
The bones what?
Bones. Yes. Bones.
Oh, the bones. Yes, bones. Welcome to my store, Bones. Yes, Bones.
I'm so
We
excited.
sell bones.
What are you going to do, Rachel? My brain was spinning. I could almost hear the gears going around. I knew I didn't have many choices. I could wait here near the dick, just in case the servant's boat was really returning as Brendan said it would. I could go back to the house. Maybe I could set the kids in the basement free. Then we'd outnumber the gunmen
I thought
and...
you were gonna say on fire.
Dot, dot, dot.
Set
I
the kids in
also
the
thought
basement on
that.
fire.
She would set herself on
It's the only
fire.
way to deal with them, really.
No, that was stupid and dangerous. What other choices did I have? I could hide in the woods. The strange calm I felt quickly began to dissolve. I thought about Brendan. Had they killed him? Did they really plan to kill me? The whoosh, whoosh, whoosh of footsteps over the tall grass came so fast I didn't have time to think. It was clearly raptors. They were coming. Nowhere to hide here. The tall grass wouldn't hide
I
me.
wish I could do a rap.
No way to slip into the shadows of the dick. The running...
Shadows of the Dick. New band name.
You're gonna have to write all these down.
I
Like
know.
when the raptor makes that weird barking noise.
Sounds like you're just
I
Brendan
know,
yelling.
you sound like Brendan.
Oh!
What if that was what the raptor said? Rocker.
The running footsteps grew louder. My chest felt like it was about to explode. My head throbbed with panic. I glanced all around.
Throbbed.
I had to hide, or else I was dead. I lurched forward and stepped into the water. I had my eyes on the log pilings that held up the dick. If I could slip behind them...
What, is she just going in the water?
She's gonna hide behind the dock with her water in the water.
Okay.
This is like a movie that goes on for an hour too long.
Yes.
All right, let's see what this dumb bitch does next.
All right.
Page 237.
How many more pages do we have?
Too
Like
many.
30?
So cold. Oh, so cold. The shock of the cold water made it hard to move. I can't do this. My teeth are chattering already. My shoes felt so heavy on the sandy lake floor, I leaned forward, strained against the cold, and forced myself to move. In seconds, the frozen water was up to my knees. My whole body shivered. Oh, oh, oh. This is what it says. The icy cold water made me moan out loud. Oh, yeah. I reached the pilings, wrapped my arms around one of the tall logs, swung myself behind it. The low waves bowed, rising to my shoulders. I held onto the dark logs, pressed myself behind them. I'm out of sight here, but I'm going to freeze to death in a minute or two, or drown. I held my breath, trying to stop my body from shuddering. Water filled my shoes, soaked my clothing, holding me down. A tall wave sent water sweeping up to my chin. Jesus, this is a dumb plan. Water splashed into my throat, thick and icy.
Hide in the freezing October water.
The water going into her throat was thick.
Oh, of course it was.
Water splashed into my throat,
black
thick
water.
and
Viscous.
icy cold.
Ew.
I started to choke. I clung to the wet, slippery
Why did
log.
water go in your throat, you dumb bitch?
Okay.
You're in charge
what-
of where you are,
what is-
spatially.
What is, like, from a Freudian standpoint, what is he trying to get across? in
I
this
don't
scene?
know.
I
Okay.
couldn't possibly guess.
It gets
She's a
worse.
lesbian.
It gets worse. Water splashed into my throat, thick and icy cold. I started to choke. I clung to the wet, slippery log.
Ugh.
Ah.
Struggling to breathe, I gagged and spit out water and shut my eyes against another wave.
Oh my god.
Were the two men on the shore? Had they seen me hide here? Probably.
Yeah.
I
They're
couldn't-
probably sitting there watching this dumb girl go.
I couldn't hear them over the roar and splash of the waves against the pilings.
Holding tightly to the log, I peered out, turned myself so I could see the shore. Water ran down my eyes. I tried to blink it away. I'm going to die here. I'm going to freeze to death because I'm an idiot who can't come up with a regular plan. Rachel! A hoarse voice called out. Huh? They found me. They've got me. I turned. I leaned my head and I peeked out from behind the pilings and I gasped in surprise. Mac? You're alive? Mac? Is it really you? Chapter 38. Help! His hair was wind-blown, wild about his head. His eyes were wide, intense. He nodded. I'm alive. He moved to the water's edge. I reached out my hands. I let him pull me from the lake. I got in the water for no reason. My clothes were soaked. Water ran down my face. I couldn't stop shivering. Once again, I had gotten in the cold water for no reason. But I stared at him in disbelief. I thought... You thought I was shot? He shook his head. No, I wasn't hit. He tried to brush his hair down with both hands. I saw you go down, I stammered. I wasn't shot.
Yeah, you did.
I faked it, he said. I wanted to give you and Brendan a chance to escape. The bullet hit the wall.
Why do I never get to read Mac?
It didn't even come close to me. I didn't know what to say. Seeing Mac was like seeing a ghost. More like seeing Patty, Carrie, and Eric alive again. Remember when that happened?
You remember all those other characters?
Only Mac wasn't playing a game, and the rifle the tall gunman fired was real. He tugged off his leather jacket and wrapped it around my trembling shoulders.
You dumbass.
Mac, how did you escape? How did you find me? They both ran out, he said, his eyes still locked on mine. They went after you and Brendan. Like, making eye contact like a normal person in a conversation. Okay.
No, he's probably looking at her like this, like, no, we did this other day.
He made eye contact.
All
Not
unblinkingly
blinking.
and psychotic.
Yeah.
I waited till they were gone. Stop looking at me like that, Chris. It's terrifying. Then I took off.
that
I
hurts.
figured.
Not blinking hurts. I don't recommend it.
How does Brendan do it?
I know. How do you do it, Brandon?
Rachel.
Write in. Let us know. Our eyes get so dry. His voice trailed off. You were so brave in there, I said. You came running at them. I thought you were crazy, but... Mac finally lifted his gaze. He turned and glanced behind him. We have to hurry, Rachel. Follow me. Follow you? Where? He motioned up the shore.
All I could think of was to go in the water.
I'm just gonna hide underwater where I can't swim.
I'm just gonna drown myself.
Above us, the moon reappeared. Mac's eyes glinted like silver in the sudden light. Come on, he whispered. There's no time. I have a canoe, Rachel. He started to trot through the tall grass, following the shoreline.
He trots.
Like a galloping pony.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hid it on the other side, away from the dick. Hurry. I hesitated. Should I follow him? What about Brendan?
What? You? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
If I got back to town, I could get the Shadyside police. I could rescue
I don't know.
Brendan and the kids in the basement.
I don't trust those Shadyside police. They seem a bit shady.
Mac motioned to me impatiently. Come on, move. Let's go. I'll get you off this island.
Oh, please tell me I get to read Mac.
I hope so.
Okay, thank you. I spoke the words in a trembling whisper. Was I really getting out of this nightmare alive? Leaning into the wind, I followed Mac across the grass. Our shadows were longer under the moonlight, like fingers stretching out in front of us. This isn't the time to get poetic, Rachel. We followed the curve of the island. Slender trees poked along the waterline, leaning forward as if trying to escape the island too. Another sharp curve found us back in the woods. Silvery moonlight darted in and out, making it all seem unreal, making the trees appear to pop in and out.
You got a Bekah page.
Mac, where are we going? I cried. It took me so long to find my way out of the trees, and now... Macaroon!
Macaroons?
My canoe is around the next curve, Rachel. He replied. He waited for me to catch up with him, then he put a hand around my waist and guided me through the maze of trees and underbrush.
Yeah, he did.
I couldn't wait. I wanted to see that canoe.
Yeah,
I wanted to be on the water, crossing the choppy,
shit.
black waters to safety. Around this way, he said, tightening his arm around me. He guided me over a fallen tree limb and through a narrow opening between low evergreen shrubs.
What a hero.
But we're heading away from the water, aren't we? I stopped when I saw the men in the small clearing past the shrubs, the two masked gunmen, and Brendan. Yes, Brendan was with them. One of the gunmen held Brendan's arms behind him. The other stood waiting for Mac and me, rifle poised at his side.
Hacking me.
Welcome back, he said.
That's not what it sounds like. Oh no! A trap! Mac led me into a trap!
What?
I spun hard and I faced him, my anger bursting out of me. How could you? Why? Why, Mac? Why did you do this to me? Chapter 39. Betrayed. Mac still had his arm around my waist. I spun around from him, glaring at him furiously. He took a step back. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I read ahead.
He said softly. I had to bring you to him.
You're not even holding the book and you're reading ahead.
I didn't have a choice. I had to.
And why did I only
Had
get two
to,
Mac lines?
I cried. Why? He's my dad, Rachel. I knew you recognized him. I had no choice. I couldn't let you get away. Your dad? What?
He really overestimated Rachel and how smart she is.
Her deductive
course.
reasoning.
She clearly did not recognize
That's
him.
why the blue-eyed gunman seemed so familiar.
I totally forgot about that part.
In my panic, my brain wasn't functioning. Of course it was Mac's dad. Dwight Garland.
Of course
You
it
know,
was Dwight
that-
Garland.
Dwight Garland, the guy we've known about the whole time. Garland tugged the ski mask off his head and tossed it to the ground. His shaved head glistened with sweat. Ew. His steel blue eyes narrowed at me. He'd never been very friendly. Just like his son, my boyfriend. I always thought he didn't like me. Just like his son, my boyfriend. But now I saw more than anger on his face. I saw a hardness and an expression that went beyond cold. -0.
Thanks, Mac, he said in a flat voice. We couldn't let Rachel get away, could we? I stared from Mac to his dad. No wonder Mac knew so much about what was going on down here. No wonder he tried to stop me from coming to the party. He knew what his father had planned. I really did try to stop him, Mac said to me. I really did try to take away the rifle, but once I figured out that you recognized him, which you didn't,
Yep.
I had to protect him. I had to bring you back to him. Shut up, Mac, Garland snarled at his son. Just shut up, I mean it!
Abusive father!
Mac had it wrong. I was stupid, and I didn't recognize his father. But what did that matter now? Still masked, the other gunman kept his tight grip on Brendan. Brendan had his head lowered, his shoulders slumped. But now he raised his eyes to me. Even at a distance, I could see the terror on his face. We're in trouble here, Rachel, Brendan said. We're in major trouble. Shut up, the masked gunman snarled. He jerked Brendan hard.
Yeah, he did.
He turned to Dwight Garland. What a great name for the bad guy. What are we gonna do with these two? They know who we... Well, sorry. Whoop, drunk. They know who you are. We have to kill them. Don't you see? We can't let them... Hyphen.
We can't let them...
Who's saying this?
The other gunman.
The...
Okay.
Non-Dwight.
I haven't decided.
No, he sounds like...
Oh, I haven't decided.
Sorry?
See?
Yeah.
Garland snapped. Maybe we can make it look like they killed each other's. His partner said. You can't kill them, Dad. Mac chimed in. No way. It's bad enough you kidnapped them. But you're not a murderer. You can't. I told you, shut up, Garland snapped. I never wanted you involved with this. I never wanted you. I told you to stay away from the island.
You was a mistake, see?
If you had just listened to me for once in your life. Let us go, Brendan said. Let us go, and I promise we won't tell anyone about it.
Chris gets to do all the good voices this time.
We'll pretend it never happened. Really. Brendan was breathing hard. And I'll tell my dad to pay you. I will. I will get you the money. I promise. Garland laughed. You sound like a bad movie.
Is that what it
It's an
says?
actual line. That's
Oh,
great.
God.
It isn't funnies, his partner said. We can still collect the ransoms, Dwight. But if we don't kill them, we'll be caught for sure. Garland didn't reply. He was studying Mac. Mac had his fist balled tightly at his sides. He was breathing hard, his chest heaving up and down. Mac, I want you to go home now, he said finally. He motioned with his head. Get in your canoe and get out of here. I can't make any of this shit up. But Dad. That one.
I gotta read faster.
I know. I'm saying, just blow through
How
it.
long have we been doing this?
God.
46 minutes?
Yeah,
Really?
we've only
And
read
we're
like
still not
20
done?
pages.
No, guys, we can do it. We can do it. Garland raised a hand to silence him. No arguments. I want you home, see? I don't want you here if bad things happen. He stepped beside his partner. Go, Mac, now. Mac had his jaw set tight. He curled and uncurled his fists. He glanced at me, his face tight with anger. Or fear. I couldn't tell what he was thinking, because I'm an idiot.
I made a bunch of guesses anyway.
Maybe he's hungry. I didn't care what he was thinking or feeling. So the last sentence is irrelevant. I could feel my own anger boiling up inside me. I didn't think. I didn't hesitate. I knew this might be my last chance to act. Oh shit, guys. With a furious cry, I dove forward and I grabbed Mac with both hands. I squeezed my
Doesn't have
hands
a
around his
weapon.
shoulders and heaved. I heaved him hard with all my anger and all my strength. I was startled by how light he felt and how little resistance he gave.
Wait, was he a dummy this whole time too?
He went sailing, stumbling backward, and toppled into his father, the other kidnapper. Cursing loudly, both men went down, tumbling onto each other. The rifle bounced out of Garland's hand and slid over the dirt. Brendan, move! I screamed. I knew we only had seconds till they were back on their feet. I didn't grab the fucking gun, though. I spun around. I hurtled into the trees, leaving the gun on the ground. I heard their angry shouts behind me. I heard Max scream, "Put the gun down!" I heard curses and then the thud of shoes on dirt. Was Brendan right behind me? Did he get away? Was I being really stupid?
Without slowing down, I turned back. Brendan? No, he wasn't there. He didn't escape them. I'll get help, Brendan, I murmured to myself.
God.
A promise I hoped I'd be able to keep, but wasn't quite sure.
I hope they didn't hear her make that promise.
I ducked under
We
a
know a
low
plan.
tree limb, covered in dark moss. A tangle of prickly brambles scraped my ankles, but I didn't slow down. I kicked them away as I ran. Yellow-green moonlight cast eerie shadows all around.
The moon is never yellow or green.
It is both of those things right now. I tried to ignore them, but each shadow made me think the two gunmen were running beside me. I'm running for my life. If they catch me, they'll kill me. A voice from behind me, close behind me, called my name. Rachel. Rachel, stop. Max, Dad. Did he see me? His running footsteps seemed to be coming from my right. I turned. I couldn't see him. He was coming after me by himself. His partner must have stayed back in the small clearing holding Brendan. I'm reading it fast because it's really boring. I stopped running. I lowered myself behind a tall, slender pine shrub. Not a fat tree like all the other ones.
Oh, she found the one small, slender
This one took care of itself.
I struggled to slow my wheezing breaths. I listened. Rachel, you can't get away.
Her wheezing breasts?
Yes.
Yes.
Her breasts were going.
Each one, both breasts.
Both breasts.
Both breasts wheezing. Garland's voice sounded farther away, back in the trees. Listen to me. I'm not going to kill you. I swear, I'm not a killer, Rachel. Do you believe me?
No.
He stopped running. I knew he was searching for me in the trees, searching and listening.
I held my breath. I tried to squeeze myself smaller to hide behind the slender shrub. Rachel, I know you're here, Garland called, more tense, his voice tight and shrill, ringing off the bare trees. I'm not going to hurt you, Rachel. We're just going to keep you and the fear boy here till the money arrives from his father. Then you'll never see us again. A long silence. My nose itched. I squeezed it hard. I knew a sneeze would be my doom. I'm reading too fast to ad-lib anything. Do you hear me, Garland called? Can you hear what I'm saying? Good. He doesn't see me, and he doesn't know how close I am. Do you believe me? Come out, Rachel. I'm not going to hurt you. I heard a splash behind me, a soft wash of water. Silently, I turned my head from the shrub. Through a clump of slender trees, more slender trees, I could see the dark outline of the water. Are they on a different island now that doesn't have fat trees?
Know.
The lake. I didn't realize I was so near the shore.
Tree side.
I held my breath and didn't move. I heard Garland mutter something to himself. Yeah. A few more low curses. Shit. Fuck. Shit. Fuck. Then I heard the crack of leaves
Friday the 13th.
and the soft thud of his shoes on the ground. I listened hard, so hard my ears were ringing. He was moving away from me. I'm going to find you, he called. You can't escape. That's reassuring. That'll get her on your side. I waited, listening to the scrape of his fading footsteps. Waited. A very long wait, it seemed. An eternity.
It sure feels that way.
It all feels like an eternity. Then, when I felt certain he wasn't nearby, I rose to my feet. My back ached from hunching so long behind the shrub. I tried to scratch the pain. I tried to stretch the pain away. Then I took off, heart pounding, walking carefully, hurrying to the water. Maybe I should go back in the water, I thought. That was probably a good plan. I stood at the soft grass on the shore. Water lapped over my already soaked shoes. Moonlight sent ripples of gold on the low waves. I nearly cried with happiness when I saw the canoe. It was perched down the grassy shore, paddles tilted over its sides. A beam of yellow moonlight played over it like a spotlight.
Take our canoe and go home.
Max canoe. Private eye. I took a few cautious steps toward it. I'd never paddled a canoe. Hey! Get it?
Yep.
I get it.
But I knew it wouldn't be hard. Hey! Beth and I had gone kayaking with our cousin on a lake last summer. Ew! That was gross. I'm sorry.
Well, that's good that she did that.
That was easy and fun. A canoe couldn't be much harder. Masturbation. I took a deep breath and I trotted toward it. The ground became soft and my shoes splashed up mud as I ran. I planned my moves as I ran. Push the canoe into the water. Check. Climb in and grab a paddle. Check. I was a few feet from the
Good plan,
canoe
Rachel.
when the voice rang out sharply behind me. Stop right there, Rachel. I turned to see Dwight Garland, his bald head glowing in the moonlight, hunting rifle poised, raised to his shoulder. No. Just stop right there. Step away from the canoe. He motioned with the rifle.
Don't just stand there, he snarled. Move away. No, I repeated. Did she say that?
What? Oh, yeah.
She stammered it.
She stammered it first.
My throat felt so tight my voice barely escaped. No, I'm going. You won't shoot me. Step away, Garland insisted, taking a step toward me. He slid the rifle onto his shoulder. The barrel was pointed at me. Don't test me, Rachel. I don't want to hurt you. Step away. No! The word burst from my mouth again. I moved to the back of the canoe and lowered myself to shove it off the grass and into the water. Step away, Garland screamed. I warned you. And then he fired the rifle. One shot. Deafening. I shrieked and my hands flailed up in the air. Another shot. He lowered the rifle barrel and fired again. Again!
Oh!
I gasped and my body collapsed to the muddy ground. Or, wait, no,
Yeah,
I
just
can
read
finish.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chapter 40. No one will blame me, in quotations. On my knees in the mud, I clamped my eyes shut and waited for the crushing pain. Silence now. The silence of death.
What?
The pain didn't come. Was I already unconscious? I'm not aware if I'm conscious or not, or if I've been shot or not. No, I opened my eyes to see Garland standing over me, rifle lowered at his side. Oh my god. Huh? I whipped around in confusion. It took me a few seconds to see what he had done. He shot the canoe full of holes, made sure it would never float. I let out a long sigh. Thanks, Delilah. My shoulders slumped. I wasn't dead. Maybe soon I would be, hopefully. Garland's eyes were crazy, staring at me with too much intensity, like lasers he wanted to burn right through me. I asked you nicely, he murmured.
God.
Oh, Jesus. He swept a hand over his bald head. Why didn't you listen to me? Why should I snapped. Were you telling the truth? I don't think so.
He grabbed me roughly by my ponytail and tugged me to my feet.
Jesus!
And she just realized she liked that.
Oh, no.
The legs of my jeans were soaked.
Oh, those poor jeans. Those jeans have taken a beating.
And caked with dirt, but I didn't bother to brush them off.
Ow.
Were you telling the truth? I repeated. Is Brendan okay? Is he? Are you going to kill Brendan? Are you going to kill me?
Brendan?
Who's talking right now?
I don't... Garland?
Garland.
Okay.
Dwight Garland.
Brendan's okay, but it's gotten complicated, hasn't it? Very complicated. He jerked me forward. I could feel his anger.
Jesus.
Let's go. It's cold out here. We walked in silence through the woods to the house. He kept 2 or 3 steps behind me, I guess, in case I decided to make a run for it. If I did try to escape, would he shoot me? I wasn't sure. I could hear him muttering to himself. Meh. I realized the tension was getting to him. His eyes were wild. He was cursing to himself now, obviously agitated. He's losing it. Totally losing control. This can't be good for Brendan and me. If he goes completely crazy, like she's still just ignoring all those other kids. The thought tightened my throat. I felt as if I couldn't breathe. The dirt path curved and then began to rise up the sloping hill to Brendan's house. The rain clouds had floated away, dotted with tiny white stars. The night sky brightened. The bare tree limbs overhead gleamed dully, casting long shadows across the path. I saw another curve up ahead, although 2 fat tree trunks.
My heart began to thud as I decided to attempt an escape. Maybe I could whip around one of those trees, the fat ones, and disappear into the woods before Garland could raise his rifle. Maybe he wouldn't shoot. Maybe. I didn't think about what I'd do after I got away from him. I just knew that my life depended on escaping. As we reached the sharp curve, my skin started to tingle because I was excited. My whole body began to quiver from excitement. I took a deep breath and I held it. I tensed my leg muscles, preparing to run. The wide, fat tree trunks, bark draped with moss, loomed ahead me. I'll run on the count of 3, because that matters. I'll spin, push off from the trunk, dive into the darkness behind it. Sounded like a plan, I thought to myself. 1, 2, but whoa, I didn't follow the plan. My body didn't do what my brain had decided.
What?
I just
Did you have a stroke?
With a hoarse cry that sounded more animal than human, I swung around. My shot startled Garland. He stopped. That's what I said. My shout startled Garland. He stopped. His mouth dropped open. I roared again and leaped forward. Without thinking, I shot out both hands and grabbed the barrel of the hunting rifle. I swung it left, then right. He struggled to keep his grip on the stock, but I jerked it easily away from him.
No.
Okay, so hang on. Let me get this straight. You are walking at gunpoint, and then you think to yourself, I'm gonna run. And then when you decide to run, suddenly your body just decides, no, I'm gonna be an animal.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab the rifle out of this grown man's hand. The rifle dropped from my hands and hit the dirt.
Why
Good
don't
job!
you hold on to it, you dummy?
We both dove for it.
Oh my god.
And at this point, I wish that you'd seen Chicago, so you would get the "we both reached for the gun" reference, but you didn't, so I won't even bother. I got there first.
Chicago!
I wrapped my hand around the stock and raised it in front of me. A look of fear crossed Garland's face. His blue eyes went wide as he climbed to his feet and took a few steps back. I raised the rifle to my shoulder and aimed the barrel at him. I'd never fired a rifle in my life, but he didn't know that. And also, all you have to do is squeeze the trigger.
Yeah, I think guns are self-explanatory.
All right.
Yeah.
He raised both hands as if in surrender, but he said, "Give it back, Rachel. Give it to me."
I bet it's either not loaded or they're blanks.
Good argument. I didn't reply.
It's a squirt gun filled with Tabasco sauce.
I motioned with the rifle for him to keep his distance, which he could tell from my rifle sign language that I'd been studying for years. Slowly, he stretched out his hands, reaching for the gun. "You're not going to use that. You know you're not. Hand it back to me, Rachel. Don't make me fight you for it." I stared at him, trying not to let him see my trembling hands. "Don't make me fight you for it. You'll regret it." I know how to use this," I said convincingly. "Keep back, I'm warning you." He hesitated for a moment, his eyes on the rifle. Then he dove for it. I pulled the trigger. Finally!
Jesus.
The gun exploded against me, a powerful jolt that made me stagger back. Garland made a rough, choking noise and reached for his throat. Bright blood spurted over his hand. Whoa!
Whoa!
I fired again and watched a dark stain spread quickly over the chest of his shirt. He groaned and slumped to his knees.
She shot him in the throat.
See, I knew she was going to be the bad guy the whole time.
Shot him in the throat.
Blood gushed like a fountain from his neck and
Hold on.
chest.
Not just shot him in the throat. Shot him in the throat and then felt the need to shoot him again.
chest.
Yeah.
You know, a throat he could recover from that easily.
Yeah.
His body twitched crazily, and then he went still. He toppled onto his back and lay in a puddle of dark blood. His blue eyes stared glassily up at the brightening sky, because even though it took an eternity to become nighttime, it became day again.
Within seconds.
Within seconds. He didn't move. Yes! I pumped my fist in the air. Yes!
Murder!
1 down and 1 to go. Now I'll kill his buddy. Why not? No one will blame me.
Oh my God.
In quotes.
Oh my god, that's what she said.
That's what she yelled out loud to herself. That's what's happening now.
Rachel is gonna fucking kill some people.
Is this going to be like hot tension?
What?
High tension?
I hope not.
Chapter 41, You Spoiled Creep. 2 fat tree trunks stood like guardians at a curve in the dirt path. Past the trees, the path sloped up sharply, leading to the house. You're awful quiet, Garland said. What are you thinking about? I was tempted to kill him, that I'd just imagined shoot...
Wait.
Oh my
Wait,
god.
Garland? Didn't she just shoot the fuck out of him?
Okay, hold on. You're awful quiet, Garland said. What are you thinking about? I was tempted to tell him that I'd just imagined shooting him twice and killing him.
Oh, come on!
How would that go over?
Fine.
Well, Mr. Garland, I just pictured myself grabbing the rifle and blasting holes in your neck and your chest and watching you bleed to death. He probably wouldn't appreciate that. This is how it's actually written.
Oh my god.
And since he was already muttering and cursing lazily to himself, sweat pouring down his bald head despite the cold night, I decided to keep my thoughts to myself, essentially wasting everyone's time, R.L. Stine. Nothing
Could
much,
have been done
I
with
said.
this book by now.
So he said, what do you think about it? She just went, nothing much. The huge house came into view beyond the front lawn, the swaying grass gray in the moonlight.
Come on.
R.L. Stein, men don't ask women what's on their minds, especially not when they're holding them hostage.
How have you gotten paid to do what you do, R.L. Stine?
Mac messed this up, Garland grumbled. He wasn't supposed to be here, see? He wasn't supposed to get involved. The jerk. That stupid jerk, my son.
You jerk.
We walked on. I didn't say anything. I knew he was talking to himself, and not me. Mac told us there was going to be a party here, he continued. That's when we realized how easy it would be to kidnap the Fearpunk on this island. He shook his head. Easy. It was supposed to be easy, but then Mac said that you recognized me. He said that you'd identify me. Blow the whole thing deal. Blow the whole deal. Blow the whole thing open.
Whole thing deal.
The whole thing deal. Mac tried to warn me last week, I said. The words just spilled out like spaghetti. Garland exploded in an angry roar. He what?
I want spaghetti.
Mac told you about this? He told you what we were planning? No, I said quickly. No, he didn't tell me anything. Why didn't he just put it on Facebook? Garland shouted. Tell the whole world. He told you we were coming here? No, I tried to plead with him. Mac didn't tell me anything. He just said that he didn't want me to come to this party, and then he physically abused me. Shut up, Garland boomed. He swung the rifle barrel at me. Shut up, I have to think. He rubbed his bald head. I have to figure this out, my son. My idiot son. My idiot son. What was he thinking?
Oh God,
Everyone read as fast as possible.
Okay. I walked in silence. Mac's father was acting more and more deranged. He talked to himself all the way back to the house. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but it sounded like he was having a big argument with himself.
Like a crazy person.
We found Brendan and the other gunman in the ballroom. Brendan sat glumly on a folding chair near the fireplace. He had his hands tied behind his back. The pudgy gunman stood a few feet away, still masked. His rifle leaned against the corner of the back wall. The fire had died. The room smelled of wood smoke.
They killed the fire too?
Even the fire. The air felt cold against my hot cheeks. Hot Cheeks. Another band name.
That was my college nickname.
I turned and saw Mac hunched in a chair against the far wall. He was all folded in on himself as if he was trying to disappear. He glanced up when his father and I stepped into the room. Then he lowered his eyes and turned away. That's right, don't look at me, Garland yelled to his son. Don't look at me, I'm warning you, no eye contact. But Dad, give me a break. I brought her to you, didn't I? Didn't I? I didn't want to, but I helped you.
Guys, real quick.
Yes.
I just wrote down Hot Cheeks and Bone Ladder as band names, and every time I open my band name document, I'm always surprised to find what I wrote last time.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I wrote The Disaster Mansion and Chubby Gunman.
So it was the last time we read that.
Thanks, Fear Street.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, blah, blah, warning you. Don't look at me, last warning. Warning. Max sighed and turned away. Garland pushed me into a chair beside Brendan. His partner tied my hands behind my back. I whispered to Brendan, "You okay?" He shrugged, avoiding my eyes. You okay? No.
They
I
ruined
said,
my makeup.
how could I be okay? Here you go.
Shut up, Garland screamed. His partner's eyes went wide in surprise. Hey, what are we doing, cheers? What's the word here, chiefs? Garland was red-faced, sweating. I didn't want Mac involved, but that idiot warned the girl. He probably called the police, too. I did not, Mac exclaimed angrily. The masked guy stepped up to Garland and blocked his path. You said this would be easy. Easy monies, you said. Kids locked in the basements, Oliver Fear pays, and we are out of here. You promised me, Dwight. You didn't say anything about... He motioned to Brendan and me. Shut up. I mean it. Shut up. Let me think, Garland said, rubbing sweat off his head. There's nothing to think about, his partner insisted, spitting the words in Garland's face. They knows who you are. We are already caught. We have to drop it and get out of here, or else is... He pulled a knife from his pocket. He unfolded the blade and swung it in front of him.
What?
A chill of horror shook my body. We won't tell anyone, Brendan said. I told you before, I promise. We won't tell anyone. Just let us all go. We won't say a word. My father will pay and he'll help you get away. The money means nothing to him. You a spoiled creep? Garland muttered with a scowl. Is that really what happened? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
You're on that page.
All right. Let's just kill him, the masked one said. The knife blade gleamed in his hand. He stepped in front of Brendan. I really want to kill him, Dwight.
Why?
Jesus.
You won't get your fucking money.
No,
Have
please!
they even
I
called
screamed.
Brendan's dad?
I doubt it. Brendan didn't plead. Instead, he glared up at him. You don't have the guts, he said through gritted teeth. You can't kill me if you want the money. Even someone as stupid as you knows that. The gunman growled and lowered the knife to Brendan's throat. If I'm so stupid, Cockney, how come you are the only one who's gonna die?
And the queen.
No, wait, Sal! Garland interrupted.
Sal, now we know your name!
See,
Sorry.
I knew he sounded like a Sal.
The punk is right. We need him alive. Thanks, Dwight. You told him my name. Nice move. He tugged the mask off his head and heaved it to the floor. He had curly red hair, Amy's dad, and green eyes and a crooked beak of a nose. His face was drenched with sweat from the mask.
He's Irish?
That's what I'm saying. It's
He
Amy's
sounds
dad.
pretty Irish.
We need him alive, Sal, Garland insisted. But we don't need this whining girlfriend, Sal said. A horrified moan escaped my throat.
Sounds like Cockney London.
I know. I strained at the ropes, but it was useless. I couldn't move. Wait, Garland insisted, but Sal didn't wait. He swung around to me, his green eyes wild. Wait, Garland screamed. Listen to me, Sal, don't!
Sal got green eyes. He's definitely Irish.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Is fucking Amy's dad. Sal ignored him. He pressed the knife blade against my throat. Here, you can do
What?
it. You do
This is
this
the
and
end
then
of the chapter.
Okay, fine.
Just finish the end.
I shut my eyes. Oh, please, no. I heard the rush of air as the knife came slashing down.
Slash.
Stop! Don't! Brendan wailed. Too late, Sal rasped. Too late.
Please let someone have actually been stabbed this time. Alrighty, chapter 42, cut. I felt a stab of pain.
Someone was stabbed.
At the back of my head.
What?
A hard tug. No one was stabbed. Oh my god, please stop someone.
Did he cut off her ponytail?
I opened my mouth to scream, but no sound came out. Struggling to breathe, I opened my eyes. Sal had turned to Garland. He gripped the knife in his right hand. In his left fist, he held my ponytail.
Why?
No!
My ponytail. My ponytail. I don't believe it. He cut off my ponytail.
Not her hair. It defines who she is.
As written.
Oh my god.
He tossed back his head and roared with laughter. Then he flung my... And he flung the ponytail into my lap.
Ew.
You two still feeling so brave? I stared at the ponytail in my lap and shuddered. These men were both crazy. Were Brendan and I going to get out of here alive? You've had your jokes, Sal, Garland said. Now put the knife away and give me some time to think. I've had it with your thinking, Sal shouted at Garland.
Your thinking hasn't exactly worked out, man. Maybe I should do the thinking from now on.
That Sal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He took 2 steps towards Garland, holding the knife in front of him. Garland raised his hunting rifle. Back away, Sal. I mean it. Sal gestured with the knife. He took another step toward Garland. I forgot how to do the voice from 2 sentences ago.
Irish.
All right. You blew this, man. You're finished. And thanks to your brilliant plan, I'm going down with you. Put the knife down, Sal. Back away. I don't need you. I'm going to get the money, with or without you. Sal stood his ground. We have to kill these 2 if we want to get away. I'll decide what to do with them. Not you. Not you, Sal. Now back away. I'm going to count to 3.
Sal really
You
changed how
sound
he
like,
talked.
Sal kept the knife poised. He didn't step
You
back.
sound like Jake's dad.
Oh, yeah.
Garland counted. 1, 2. He held the rifle pointed at Sal's chest. Dad, low! Max suddenly came to life. So he was dead before that?
No,
He leaped
he
off
just
his chair
being
and came
dumb
running
douche.
at his father. Sal tossed the knife to the floor. He dove forward and grabbed Garland's hunting rifle with both hands. Garland twisting it, tugging hard, trying to wrest it away from his partner. I tensed every muscle. Was the gun going to go off like before? Was
God.
someone about to die?
No one's gonna die. No one ever dies. Nothing ever happens. Dad, stop! Stop it! Max stood helplessly watching the two men wrestle for the weapon. Brendan and I were helpless, our hands tied to the back of the chair, my ponytail sitting in my lap. Garland cursed and screamed as Sal continued to battle him for the control of the gun. I'll kill you! I'll kill you all! Garland wailed. I gasped as the door to the room burst open. Brendan and I both screamed as two dark uniformed police officers came running toward us, pistols raised. What do they sound like?
Well, I mean, the obvious thing is they're Irish too, but...
Yeah.
Just make him sound like dudes.
Alright. Drop your weapons! One of them screamed. You're under arrest! With a powerful jerk, Garland pulled the hunting rifle free of Sal's grasp. He swung it onto his shoulder and aimed it at the officers.
Oh, good idea.
Oh, that's a great move in this day and age.
Drop your weapon! Both cops shouted in unison.
He would have been shot by now.
Yeah. Garland hesitated a long moment.
Hold on,
Then
both cops shouted in unison. Do you want to shout it together?
Yeah, okay.
1, 2, 3.
Drop your weapon!
Third.
Garland hesitated a long moment, and then he angrily tossed the rifle to the floor, sending it skidding to the officer's feet.
I didn't like that gun anyway.
Garland slowly raised his hands above his head. Sal stood frozen behind him, red-faced, his mouth open in shock. Max stepped over to us and untied Brendan and me. I stood up. My ponytail fell to the floor at my feet.
The only reason that thing was cut was to
loss.
end on a cliffhanger.
I shuddered.
So pointless.
What a close call.
Now she'll have cute short hair like me.
I gripped the back of the chair, and I waited for my legs to stop trembling and my heart to stop fluttering. But Brendan appeared totally calm. He stepped toward the two officers, shaking his head. Just in time, he murmured. You guys are just in time. What? This was all part of my game.
The two cops exchanged glances. They kept their guns drawn. They were both young and tall and thin. One of them had a narrow, tanned face and a black mustache.
She was just a horn dog.
The other one was boyish looking. He could pass for a teenager.
Hubba hubba.
They're probably just
like
in
part
disguise,
of
part of the game.
This is my
Whatever
first night
bullshit.
on the job.
The mustached cop, I believe the word is mustachioed, stepped up to Brendan. What's going on here? It's a kidnapping, Brendan replied, motioning to Dwight and Sal. For real. They came here to kidnap me. Take them to your boat.
What?
They were going to... This is what
Just keep
he
reading.
wrote. They were going to kill us, I cried. If you had come a few minutes later... The cop's eyes widened in surprise. They weren't serious, Mac chimed in. It wasn't real. My dad didn't mean it. Really, they...
What?
Shut up, Mac, his dad snapped. You're not helping anyone. I told you to stay home. The boyish cop turned his gaze to Mac. You know him? He's your father? Mac nodded. He didn't reply. Your father came here to kidnap these two people? Mac had a bitter scowl on his face. Just Brendan. Shut up, Garland screamed at Mac. Shut up, shut up! Are you going to stand there and confess before they even arrest us?
Oh my god.
It seems like they're arresting you right now, but whatever.
You're gonna get arrested, you idiot.
You're pointing a gun at teenagers. You're not just walking out of here.
You are under arrest, the young-looking cop said. My other guests are locked in the basement, Brendan said. I'll get them out. You need to take these three to your police station. That's as written.
Oh my god.
Right, Mustache replied. He waved his pistol at Dwight and Sal. Contact my father, Brendan said. Oliver Fear, as if you didn't know. Tell him to send the Bert to pick everyone up. Rachel and I will come tell you the whole story after everyone is rescued. The cops both nodded. Get going, the boyish one told Dwight, Sal, and Mac. We'll read you your rights on the way back to Shady Side. They pulled handcuffs off their belts and handcuffed Dwight and Sal. My hands still gripped the back of the chair. My chest felt as if it was filled with butterflies. I think my boobs were coming in. As I watched the two cops collect the hunting rifles and lead the two men and Mac out of the ballroom,
what it feels like.
I wondered if I would ever feel normal again. It's called puberty. Would I see that rifle pointed at me every time I close my eyes? Is it possible to get over the horror of someone aiming a weapon at you and threatening to kill you? The door closed hard behind them. Brendan and I were left alone in the vast ballroom. He stood watching the door as if expecting them to burst back in. When he finally turned to me, he had a strange expression on his face. I couldn't read it. Was he actually smiling? And now we do it.
Lay down. He walked up to me and he led me gently away from the folding chair. He wrapped his arms around me and he pulled me into a hug. His cheek felt blazing hot against mine, which was weird because I was sure he was a vampire. I couldn't stop trembling, even in his tight embrace. Finally, I stepped back. "Brendan," I said. "Brendan?" His warmth still on my cheek. "Those policemen, how did they know to come here?" "They didn't," he said. His eyes crinkled as he smiled. I forgot that his eyes crinkled. I mentioned it at the beginning of the book, and I haven't said it until now. "Huh? You didn't call them?" "No, the phones don't work here, remember?" he said. "But then, how did they know we were in trouble?" "They didn't know it, Rachel." A wide grin spread over his face. "It was part of my game."
Ugh.
"What?" I screamed.
So
"The whole
dumb.
kidnapping
So
thing?"
did all of us.
He shook his head. "No, that was real. Dwight and Sal were really here to kidnap me, and they might have killed us. That wasn't a fake." "But the two cops, they were part of my panic game. They were supposed to burst in and arrest all the guests,
For what?
but they were late. I guess because of the rainstorm,
For
because
drinking underage.
cops don't do things fast in the rain." My brain was
the mogwais.
My brain was spinning. It was disgusting. My head felt about to explode. "Brendan, please, I'm totally confused. Those two cops? They're not real cops," Brendan said, still grinning. "They're actors I hired." He laughed. "They looked more surprised than the kidnappers. I could see them shaking. Couldn't you?" Does anyone think that this is a terrible, horrible, horrible, horrible revelation
Book?
that they're not actually cops?
This is really bad.
No, I said. No, I believe them. I believe they were real cops. I thought maybe they were just new to being cops and adults. Brendan shook his head. Their guns weren't even real. We got them at a theater prop store, but I guess they were real enough for Garland and his partner. "That's insane," I cried. "The whole thing. This whole fucking day. Just insane. You're crazy, Brendan. You really are." Impulsively, I threw my arms around him. I pressed my mouth to his because that's what you do when you see an insane person. You kiss them on the mouth.
Well, she has really great, history.
He let go of me and started to the door. "We have to let the others out. They're going to be very confused." Like,
No shit.
all of us. "I hope everyone is okay,"
They ate
I
each other.
said with an awkward pause, following him out to the hall. He turned to me. "Now I have one major problem." I narrowed my eyes at him. "What problem?" "What am I going to do for my birthday next year?" The book should have just ended like that, but still, we go on.
Yeah, there's another chapter.
All right, chapter 43. More horror.
More horror?
A week later,
More horror.
I was
More
back.
horror.
A week later, I was back waitressing at Lefty's after
Wait,
school.
a week?
Yeah, that jumped forward a week.
Okie dokie.
Trying to pretend that everything in my life was back to normal. I say pretend because it wasn't exactly true. I was having vivid nightmares every night in which I was being chased by someone who wanted to kill me.
Why?
And the short walk home after work now filled me with anxiety.
Oh my god.
Every leaf
She's-
that blew against my ankle made me jump. Every moving shadow made me cringe with sudden fear.
She's
It'll take time, Mom
she's
said.
gonna be in therapy for a long
Yeah.
But
time.
it's all over, Rachel. Just keep telling yourself it's all over.
Mark's mom?
Mark. Well, I guess it was all over for me. And for Brendan, too. We spent hours in the police station explaining what had happened. 2 real police officers this time. Dwight Garland and his partner Sal were charged with kidnapping and assault. And as for Mac, well, the situation was... Pages were stuck together.
Yeah.
Jonathan, did you jerk off to this?
Every day.
Well, the situation was pretty messed up.
I was still dating him. He was being charged as an
haven't gotten around
accessory
to
to his
telling them we
dad's
were
crime.
through. Still haven't gotten around to telling them we were through.
But it hadn't been decided whether Mac's case should be tried in a juvenile court or an adult court. So things weren't exactly normal, even though I pretended they were. I didn't even take a day off. I went back to school on Monday and back to Lefty's as if nothing had happened. I was mopping around after a table. I was mopping around a table after 2 little kids spilled most of their dinner on the floor like little bitches when Irish Amy walked into the restaurant. Yes. She wore...
He's about to knock off.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
She wore a red hoodie over faded jeans. She gave me a wave and sat down in the first booth. Amy had been a wonderful friend all week. She had been so understanding and kind when I described what had happened on Fear Island, and she never once said, "I told you so! I told you not to go!" She even said she liked my new short haircut.
That's right.
I'm a new woman. It was a quiet night at Lefty's. The restaurant was nearly empty. Most kids from school were home studying for midterms. I walked over to
No, they
Amy,
weren't.
and I dropped across from her in the booth. "Hi, what's up?" "Did you hear about Mac?" Her eyes went wide with excitement. "Good news or bad?" I said. "Good news for him. The police dropped all the charges. They said he wasn't an accomplice because he tried to stop his father."
That's not how it works.
Nope.
Wow, that's good, I said. Did you hear? Is he coming back to school? No, him and his mom are moving. Again. Wow, I murmured. I didn't know what else to say. Amy brushed her hair off her forehead. Have you seen Brendan? We're going out next week, I said. So you two are still seeing each other? Kind of, I said. We went through so much.
I'm kind of weirded out by the
Most-
whole sociopath thing.
We went through so much and most of it was
But I
just
think I
pretend.
could change him.
I guess it made us kind of close. Have you ever seen Speed? That is
That's
not
what I was
how you start a
I was just
relationship.
gonna say Speed.
Well, that's why
Speed,
Keanu Reeves isn't
Rachel.
in Speed 2 Cruise Control.
Yeah, they don't last.
Amy nodded. You mean like brother or sister or what?
Ew.
Amy was really stupid. I didn't answer. He's so weird, I said. He confessed to me he was sorry he scared everyone so badly at his birthday party. But know what Eric told me? Eric told me Brendan is working on a scary new game for his next party. Amy rolled her eyes. Another scary game? You're kidding. That's what Eric said. I warned you about him, Rachel. Seriously. I warned you about getting involved with someone in the Fear family. They're all totally weird. I mean it. Even though she didn't say I told you so. I shook my head. You're wrong, Amy. Brendan isn't that weird. Besides, we're taking it a day at a time, just like alcoholics. That was a lie. I still had a crush on Brendan.
Wait, it said that?
No.
Oh, God.
If only he could give up the games. The disaster at his party hadn't cured him at all.
I just stopped by to say hi, Amy said, climbing to her feet. I'll be up all night studying for the chem test. Call me later. Phone me later.
Studying?
For sure, I said. I heard the kitchen bell. I stood up and started to cross the restaurant. I glanced back in time to see Amy walk out the front door, all Irish-like, and someone else enter. At first, I didn't recognize her. She was too unexpected and too out of place. Impossible. But after a long moment of confusion, I realized I was staring at my sister, Beth. I recognized her smile first. I thought, Beth can't be here. But there she was.
For years.
She had a navy poncho over a short black skirt and a black fur top boots nearly up to her knees. Her dark hair was different. It had blonde highlights in the front. Lefty hit the kitchen bell again, but I was racing down the aisle to hug my sister. We wrapped our arms around each other and held each other tight, as if she'd been gone for years instead of only a few months. She smelled of cinnamon. Her cheek was cold from the air outside. Beth, I don't believe it, I stammered. When did you get home? What are you doing here? She practically had to peel me off her. I came to
Ew.
see you, she said. You look okay.
Okay, thanks for starting that voice. Yeah, I'm fine, but how... I heard you had a bad time, Rachel. Mom called me. She told me all about it. She said I didn't have to come but home,
thought
but
she was like
but
dead or something.
but I wanted to. I'm so glad. I'm stunned. Really. I missed you so much, Beth. She shook her head. I'm sorry. I haven't been good at keeping in touch. I didn't know freshman year would be so challenging. I mean, it's so different. She looked just like Mom when she frowned like that.
She went to college.
No worries, I said, squeezing her hand. How long can you stay? Just till Sunday night. I can't miss Monday classes. But we'll have plenty of time to talk. I want to hear everything, Rachel. I mean, you can tell me anything you like.
It sounds like you're improv.
You can tell me anything you like about what happened at the party. Well, I'd been dying to talk to her about it, but now I felt reluctant. I guess because it was pretty much over. I know, Beth said, her eyes flashing. We'll have our good old weekend. Do everything we did back in the day. We'll hang out at the mall on Saturday afternoon. and laugh at all the weird people, and try on 1,000,000 things we won't buy,
God.
and run into everyone we know. Then we'll call out for 2 pepperoni pizzas and be total couch potatoes and watch the worst horror movies all night on Netflix and then talk about it on Facebook. You have to do the voice.
I'm not doing
Your
that.
best Dr.
It
Girlfriend
took
voice. Come
forever.
on.
That hurt.
Oh, I could do it all day, Modoc.
My mouth dropped open. I grabbed Beth by the shoulders. Horror movies? Horror movies? I don't think so. Beth and I had an awesome weekend. We spent so much time talking, laughing, and having fun. I didn't get to unpack my bag until after she left. What bag?
From the party?
Yeah, from the party, I guess.
Okay.
Who cares?
I think there's like a dead animal on it.
That's when I discovered something missing. In all the horror...
My underwear.
In all the horror and excitement and my eagerness to escape Fear Island, I'd left my ugly, disgusting tangerine jacket behind. The jacket I treasured because my aunt in New York had sent it.
Priorities.
I remembered where I left it, in the ballroom when we came in from the rain. I called Brendan. Did anyone find a jacket? The cleanup people? Did they bring back...
You know, the black ones.
Did they bring back an orangey jacket?
Orangey?
Orangey, did the cleanup people find an orangey jacket? No jacket, he
Rachel,
said.
you're an
There was no jacket this whole time.
It's probably still where you left it, Rachel.
You dumbass.
Can we go get it? I asked. I really need it. I mean, is the house open? I definitely want to go back to that house and have a bunch of nightmares.
Fuck that jacket.
Brendan arranged for a motorboat and pilot to take us to Fear Island on
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon. It was a dark day with heavy storm clouds low in the sky, a lot like the day of the party.
Oh my god.
A steady cold wind pushed the waves high around us as we roared to the dick. Seeing it as we approached made me shiver. Too many bad memories on this island, but not bad enough to go back and get that stupid fucking jacket. It started to rain just as we reached the house. A jagged bolt of lightning crackled over the roof.
How is this
Oh my
not
God,
over
we
yet?
are almost done.
Brendan fumbled with the keys and finally unlocked the front door. Go find your jacket, he said. I'll be right here. I want to check something in the garage. I pushed back the hood of my parka and stepped into the front entryway. The air was cold in the house. There were no lights. I glanced down the long hall to the big ballroom where the party had been held. The wood floors gleamed in the gray light from the hall windows. The house was silent except for my footsteps as I made my way to the ballroom. I pulled open the doors and stepped inside. The room was bare. No furniture, no jacket. Maybe I left it upstairs in that bedroom, I told myself. I hurried back down the hall and took the stairway to the second floor. I stopped at the landing and gazed down the hall. Clean and silent and empty. I turned and started to the first bedroom.
Bats?
The bedroom had been cleaned. The beds were made. The dresser top empty. Empty. Blah. No jacket. No sign of my jacket. I checked the closet. I got down on the floor and looked under the bed. No. Someone must have found it and... ... Maybe they hung it in the coat room downstairs. Stepping into the hall, I heard a sound, a scrape, and a soft thud. Brendan, is that you? My voice rang out down the empty hallway. Take us home.
Alright, I'll just... Oh, yeah. No reply. A rectangle of light slanted out from the bedroom door.
Another rectangle.
Don't read ahead.
Oh, God. Get it away from my face.
I heard more noises. Was someone else here? Brendan said the house was empty. I strode down the hall, slid the bedroom doors open, and I stepped inside. I gasped when I saw the long table at the far end of the room. It was covered with animal parts. Squirrel legs, a bushy tail, a cat torso, a stuffed owl perched on a block of wood.
A Mac head.
Oh no! Then I saw the
no!
woman behind the table. She had her back to me. I could only see her long, scraggly white hair flowing down her back, flowing over my jacket.
Oh, no.
She was wearing my tangerine jacket. Excuse me, I called out. Hello? She didn't move at first. Then slowly, very slowly, too slowly, she turned around, and my mouth dropped open in a silent cry. She had no face. The long white hair framed a grinning skull. A skull perched over my jacket. Her sunken eyes remained on me
I
as
thought she was wearing it.
picked up a small knife and plunged it into a fat squirrel belly. I finally found my voice, and I uttered a shrill cry. I heard running footsteps from the hall. I spun around. Brendan burst through the doorway. Rachel, what's wrong? I turned and pointed. She... I stammered. He squinted at me. I gaped at the front of the room. No one there. And no dead animals. No animal parts. The table stood completely bare, except for my tangerine jacket, balled up on one corner. You found it. There's your jacket, Brendan said. What is your problem?
It's called PTSD.
Trembling, I grabbed his arm. Brendan, this room, this house, I stammered. All those old stories. The house it really is haunted. Brendan laughed. He squeezed my hand. Come on, Rachel. You don't believe those crazy stories, do you?
Huh?
Ba, 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 ba.
And if you didn't like this place, you should see our other house.
Cacao.
That
is the end of
That concludes Fear Street.
Motherfucking Party Games Fear Street by R.L. Stine.
All right. This bitch is done.
Jesus Christ.